this is working. Are we working? Stream, come on. Let's see if it's working. Bear with me. Yes, here we are. We are on. We are live and indeed kicking. Yes, good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and the technical rainbow in between. We are doing a live first impressions kind of a review of the brand new Hornby 00 Deltic. Now, a few asterisks and side notes. I have had the model out of the box already, just to fit a magnetic coupling on it, to save faffing around later on. So, there we are. We'll just down fire for just a little moment, let a few more people populate the chat before we get into the thick of it, as it were. I'll need to move the camera a little bit as well, so you won't see much of me, but you'll see plenty of the model, which I think is the entire point, really, isn't it? Who are we got in the chat? We've got Richard Swiderski, Robert Choberton Junction, Andy Friars Junction, Soil Wallows of Lee. Here we are. Richard Knowles, Elaine Jackson, Simon's Model Railway, Flymo Chairman 1. Have I missed anybody? Yeah, thanks very much, Andy. No one wants to see me. Cheers, mate. Yeah. Right then, okay. So there's been a few other people that have dropped reviews. Funnily enough, the same day that I decided to announce I'm doing the live one, and then all these other ones randomly cropped up early. Funny that. Anyway, not to worry. Yes, the general consensus of the model itself is it's very pretty and very nice and very heavy. Not seeing much really in the way of like the sound and everything else. So maybe we'll get into that a bit more tonight. Who knows? Richard Grunters, Simon Pitcher. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we, Simon? I'll be showing your O-gauge Ginty off in a minute as well. I've been busy today, boys and girls. Even though I've not got a job, I'm still busy doing weathering commissions, and I've got a bit of O-gauge. You want to see that? A bit of O-gauge. It's lovely. Done a bit of O-gauge. I've done this Dapol Ginty 3F. It's still not fully cured, so it needs another coat of the old lacquer on there tomorrow, and then it'll be a case of giving the wheels a little clean because they're a little bit mucky, as is often the case. But I'm impressed with that. It's dangerous when you see your gauge because it's very pretty and you end up wanting it. So there we are. But yes, very nice model, but not the focus of today's stream. No. The focus, ladies and gentlemen, moving the camera so you all get motion sickness, of today's stream is that little beauty. There we are. Let's just check the chart. Simon Pitcher, I'm glad you like it. It does look very nice. Oh, I think so, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I'll just keep checking the chat as and when I can, guys. But here is the Hornby 00 Deltic box. The artwork is really pretty, and this says everything you need to know about where Hornby is coming from when it comes to the opinion of this model, okay? So here's the world's quickest unboxing. Well, look at that. Instantly done. And we have the model just there waiting. I'm going to gently move the camera in closer, guys, so you can see it. There we are, track level. So it's just like you're here in the room with me. Okay, there we are. Of course, we're going to just gently stroke the locomotive, as is the custom for my people. And then we're going to have a fuss about all the little quirky details. Now, immediately, when you look at this thing, the first thing comes to mind is how fucking pretty it is, because it really is a spectacle and a sight to behold. Everything in terms of detail, to my eye at least, is absolutely spot on. The glazing, and I know you can't see it too well here, but it's actually, I can't see any issues with that whatsoever. I can't even see the flashing on the reverse side of the glazing when you look through the cab, which again is also really, really detailed. You'll see there that I fit in the magnetic coupling on there, because it's always good to see that. Let's have a look at the chat there. Let's have a look. Yes, there we are. I do like stroking my Deltic Richard guns. Yes, I do indeed. It's a very nice thing to do. But enough waffling, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at it running, shall we? So we're on address 3 so far. But maybe I'll just move the lights a little bit, just so we can maybe better see, get an effect for the lights, possibly. Let's get the lights on there. And the sound as well. Now, the model looks amazing. Personally, and I know it's going to sound shit for you guys because you're listening to this over a microphone, over a phone, over the internet, and then through your speakers at home. So you're not going to get the best, impression of the sound. But I must tell you, the sound in this model is not what I would call befitting of a model of this quality and price. I very much think that the sound is... I know Hornby have got the whole, what do you call it, HM 7000 thing. I know they've invested all their skill points into the HM 7000 sound decoder, so they need to kind of make that work. However, I really don't think that that was the right choice for a model of this caliber, and I'm going to try and demonstrate that for you now. It's the horn. Now, I know the Deltic isn't known for having an overly attractive sounding horn to begin with anyway, but if you listen to this, it just sounds like it's being played through a kazoo. It sounds like it's being played through a nasty little kazoo, and it doesn't tickle the pickle for me, I'm afraid. Now, maybe I'm spoiled by the fruits of ESU and Zemo and what have you, but at the same time, it's not ticking the boxes. I've had an Acura scale Deltic before now, and that sounds a lot better than this, and I've seen people with custom sound fitted Bachmann DP1s with custom sound, and they sound better than this. This is a £400 locomotive, boys and girls. It certainly looks it. It certainly feels it. So, why have we cheaped out on the sound? It sounds awful. Listen again to the ridiculous horn. Now, do you think that they bothered to put a bit of work in to the braking sound effect? No. They use the same generic brake sound effects across all the HM 7000 decoders, which is this horrible screeching. So you get that brake screech whether you've got a steam engine or a Deltic or a HST. So there we are. Another thing I'm not crazy about when it comes to HM 7000 sound, but there we are. So without further waffling on, let's get the party piece out of the way. There you go, look at that. It's got a Nino light. That apparently isn't on the real thing. It's only a pretend light on the real thing, but I quite like it because it annoys people. We've also got, I think, other lighting functions as well. Let's have a look here. We've got compressor sounds. The fans are spinning. That's really cool. And the fans spin independently. I know you can't really see it from there. I'll just try and aim you at it. But the fans spin at a really nice speed. And again, this is my point entirely. Spinning fans, are they really a requirement these days? Do we need them? I can't see them from here. You certainly can't see them from here. So it just strikes me as a little bit of, we're running out of ideas. So let's make the fan spin. Let's turn that compressor off. So you got the cab light there, and the cab light is an interesting one because once you turn the cab light on, depending which direction you're going in, that's which cab light illuminates. So you can see there, look. You change direction, the appropriate cab light comes on, which is nice because it means I don't have to faff around with finding and remembering loads of different functions. But there we are. Shall we turn that ditch light off? I quite like it, to be honest with you. It's kind of special. Kind of looks like a UFO, doesn't it? Right then, running test. So these points here, boys and girls, there's one point there that's got a crossover and another one there. The frogs, as you can see, are not wired in, so they are technically dead frogs. The track is clean, as you can see. There's no muck on that track there. It's nice and clean. So the track isn't dirty, and we're going to give this speed step 1. Let's just turn the sound off first, because it is quite loud. Ooh. I don't know if you heard that, but that's quite weird. When you turn the engine sound off, as the engine sound quiets down, you can hear the wind blowing at the back of the recording. So whenever they recorded this, they didn't bother to hide the wind noise. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, see if we can hear the wind blowing, guys. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to deactivate the sound, then listen and see if you can hear the wind blowing. Do you hear it then? Can you hear the wind blow? Yeah, that's interesting, and again, I'm not sure if that is befitting of a £400 sound file, but there we are. Anyway, speed step 1. Let's see how we get on. Quite good, not bad. And this is the default setting, so there's been no adjustments made. This is as she comes from the box. James heard wind. It wouldn't be the first time on this channel that wind has been heard. Now, I'm not expecting this poor little Deltic to get over these 2 dead frog points at speed step 1. So if it stalls, it stalls. You know what I mean? It's not really a... Richard Grunt does not come with a stay alive as standard. It plugs any of the HM7000 compatible stay alives into it, which we'll look at doing in a little bit. I've got a DCC Context one here, which will whack in the arse there and see how it goes. But as you can see, boys and girls, it is a speed step 1. And it's slowly crawling away. Did I have to sell a kidney to buy the model? No, I wasn't. This was very kindly, impromptually donated to the channel by a, shall we say, mysterious benefactor. A very kind gent. There we are, and it's stalled, which is fine. Oh, well, no, it's picked back up again. Oh, it's decided to keep going. Yes, it was donated by... no, it's not happy, is it? It's because it's on that dead frog there, and you can see there, look, that's a dead frog. That's a dead frog, but it still wants to keep going. God bless it. Come on, you can do it. Come on, little Deltic. It wants to do it, which is interesting because it means it's picking up power, but then it isn't. Okay, pokey. There we go. You happy now? There we go. So the slow speed is actually, I think, quite nice. It's a fair level of slow speed control. That's speed step 1 again. There we are on the old power card, going through a 5 amp Aegis system, and it seems to be doing very well. The track is not 100% flat anywhere, never mind on the real railway, especially on my railway. Look at that. It's doing really, really nice and speed. There's not really any juddering or anything. To be fair with you, I don't think I can zoom in. Yes, I can. As you can see there, look, it's pretty smooth. There's no juddering or 50p piecing or anything like that. It is going really, really smoothly at speed step 1. And this curb, ladies and gentlemen, that it's about to enter, you can see the beginning of the curve here, is sub-radius 2. I think it might even be radius 1, which is torturous, to be brutally honest with you. It is very, very tight indeed. But can it do it? I'm going to bump it up to speed step 5. There we are, speed step 5. And the bogies really are sort of swinging out. There's no issue yet. There is a little bit of clipping with the end detail there. It's just catching. And if you have your pipes and accoutrement fitted to the end, that might cause derailing. In fact, I suspect that it will, because the bogie is wobbling a little bit, but not to worry. It's to be expected with these sort of things. A detail pack that you can't fit the details from, because if you do, the model won't run. Lovely. Now, these frogs on these points that it's coming up to here, we've got 1 point there, 1 point there, and 1 point there, are all powered to frog juicers and point motors. So there should be no excuses for stalling here. The points are all set correctly. Hopefully it doesn't derail, because it's quite a tight little layout, as in my layout is certainly set up for shunting and not running mainline trains. So there we are. It's handled that really well, and to be fair with you guys, it runs really smooth, doesn't it? It really does. Let's move the camera in a little bit closer there, if we can. Sorry for the motion sickness. There we are. It's running really nice. Lovely. Has that just died? No, it hasn't. I've just turned the lights off. There we are. Cool. Now then, I'm going to set the points for the main line, which means changing point 8 and 7. Perfect. Let's get the old girl going. Should we have the sound on, boys and girls? Do you want the sound on? Let's see what the boys and girls say on the chat. If we can get the sound on. If we should get the sound on. There we are. The idea is, chaps, we're going to get the Deltic onto the main line and reverse it up to this train I've got waiting, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Bachmann Mark 1 coaches. I have converted it to magnetic coupling, as I found is the best solution for this sort of thing. The magnetic ones just really do remove any sort of derailment issue. So here we go then. Let's get it started up, chaps. Okay. So we're going to go F1. I don't think there's a cold start on this. No cold start. But I like it how it starts 2 engines up. That's nice. That is cool. Okay. Sound the old horn. That sounds horrible. I don't like that horn. And I don't know whether it's the recording or if it's the speaker or what, but that sounds shit. And that brake sounds awful as well. Don't like the horn. Don't like that. Anyway, let's get moved off, shall we? Let's select speed step 10. Nice brake release. Going over the points nicely, nice and smooth. Yes, very good. I suppose this is the cool thing about doing a live review / preview, is that if something goes wrong with it, I can't hide that fact. You're all going to see it. Hornby will probably say it. But to be fair with you, it's absolutely superb. You can also adjust the engine res by using your F5 on this. You can increase them or decrease them, which I kind of like, to be fair with you. I know some people on their sound files like the old drive lock, and I do use that sometimes. So you control the engine sound with the engine speed, as it were, or the speed step. But I kind of prefer it where I can just sort of move the camera over here, guys, where I can just sort of give it a blip when I want. So I can move the Deltic away now, and I can rev it up a little bit more than I need to. Get it revving. So we can simulate having a really heavy train. That seems to be full chat. And then we can press F6 and eventually it goes back down to a nice little... No, you're quite right, James Pets. It's not always easy to tell over YouTube. And that's the thing. But I can promise you, it's not. No, that's just kazoo territory there, really. I'm not impressed with the horn or the sound file in general, really. So there we are. But apart from that, it looks like a lovely locomotive. Now, I don't actually have a other Deltic to compare this thing to, so I'm going to get it going now. Speed step 10. I used to have an Acura scale Deltic, and that was a lovely model. This is heavier than the Acura scale Deltic, has to be said. And we can get that engine revving, you see, and then we can increase the speed steps as needed, and then we can knock it back. So we've simulated that the loco's set off from the station, and it's got momentum up, and it's just sort of pulling away now. Very good. It does nice. Yeah, Simon Trains, the Deltic horn does sound a little deeper in my experience of the Deltic, and that is not the case here, but never mind. Let's get it going again, a bit more power. We're now to speed step 60. There we are. Which is quite fast, but it seems to be doing okay. No signs of derailing yet. Very good. Doing its job nicely, I think. Certainly no issues there with derailing or crashing into the layout. Looking good. Let's get that speed down, get that sound down now as well. Bring it back into the old station there. And then the horrible brake squeak once it's finished. Yeah, that's not great then, is it? Oh my word. Anyway, let's leave that there for now. We'll disconnect it from the old train. There we are, just a quick click, and there you are, magnetics are away. We'll get it back into the slidings there, and I'll get the model in my hands and we'll have a look at it close up, shall we? What do you think to that? Do you want to have a look at it close up? It's running really well, and there's no stair light fitted in this thing yet. This is just running off of the old pickups itself, so the running is really nice. And I do think that if this is what Hornby can do for 400 quid, then cool. If that's the sort of model we can expect, and sort of mechanism and running quality and detail we can expect, fine, bring it on. I'm happy for that to be, you know, Hornby's hallmark, double O, top of the range. I'm happy with that. However, what I'm not happy with, and I don't mind saying this, and I kind of see it as almost a bit like an own goal in many respects, is that they've built this really rather splendid model. A splendid example of the 1955 Deltic, as opposed to the one in preservation, so I'll have to modify that to make it look like the one in preservation, but it does rather look very, very nice, and as you can see, it runs really smoothly, and this has had no running in. This is pretty much out of the box, and as it comes from Mr. H.R. Hornby. And you can hear the rumble caused by the earth moving speaker in there. So the speaker is a good speaker. There's no getting around that. So I think this is just maybe perhaps a poor sound recording. I would urge Hornby to adjust it if they can. Maybe make it a bit deeper. Let's see if it gets over these points, which don't have electro frogs on them at the minute. They are not powered. But it seems to have done it just fine. And being able to control the engine revs with functions is really nice. I do prefer it, to be honest with you. It can be a bit tiresome having to rev hold and rev match and everything else. There we are. Okie dokie, pig in the pokey. Let's turn that beggar off. Okay, right. Let's get the old camera over here, if we can. That's the chat. Say hello to yourselves, chat. Infinite regression there. Let's pick up the 3,000 stone locomotive, shall we? And get it in front of us. Right. Okay, there we are. Now I'm going to adjust this in a minute, guys. We'll have a look at the chat as well and see what's been going on whilst I've been frigging around with this 400 quid paperweight. There we are. There we are. Put it on precariously. Bounce it on the edge of my table there. Look at that. Brilliant. Okay, good. Just reading the chat there. Hello, Game Hammer. Good to see you. Right then. Model fidelity. Let's have a look. I've not got you between my legs, you lucky boys and girls. Here we are. I don't, do Hornby still do a DP1 in Railroad? Do they? I didn't know they did. Okay, here we are. So, we have picked up the very expensive, very nice model. And it's in our hands there, look. I think you've agreed, chaps and chapettes, that it is really well applied. I have to confess, this ladder did like snap off when I was putting it on the track earlier today in preparation. So, don't drop it, yep. And it did need gluing back on, but 2 minutes with a bit of super glue and it's fine. What's impressed me the most about this thing is just how heavy it is. And you could easily do somebody some damage with this thing. But what I did notice is, see here, on this end here, boys and girls, we fitted some of the suggested detail. Now, as you notice, when the bogie moves, it moves the coupling, which is absolutely fine. The problem is these fine little details here, when you try and have them fitted with the detail packs, what happens is the coupler catches the bottom of the, see the hook there? So I've had to cut the bit at the bottom of the what's it called, screw coupling off, because it would just catch and it stops the bogie from turning and causes derailment. So it is a case of either or, really. You either want this model to look spot on in the front end department, or you want it to go around, you know, curves gentler than like radius 6 or whatever. But there we are. The fans are really, but you know, they're nice actually, and they don't spin too fast, which is a big issue. If you're going to fit fans to a model train, which you can't do 90% of the time anyway, that's fine. But at the same time, let's not have them trying to take off like a helicopter or a jet. This is where you get the decoder. There you are, look. Magnetic roof hatch. Accurascale, they were the first ones that I saw doing that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm glad model manufacturers have adopted that. Looking at the space inside there, boys and girls, there is space to fit a different 21-pin decoder, so if you want to have proper sound in there, you can do. I'm joking, proper sound, you know what I mean? You can fit a different brand of sound, if you will. What is nice is there's a locating pin. See that? There's a locating pin on the roof hatch, which means you cannot put this on wrong. And I've seen so many, well, again, Accurascale models where people have tried to put the roof hatch on wrong and they've broken it or damaged it or pulled a magnet out. So there we are. That is really, really nice. Let's just have a quick chat. Look at the chat there. Richard should know, yes, they do a Railroad 55 Deltic, but I don't think it's a DP1, is it? I think it's just a class 55. But it's not the same sort of customer that would buy that. to be honest with you. Hornby Railroad is not for me, but that doesn't mean it's not valid. And there are certainly a lot of customers out there that really enjoy what Hornby Railroad offers, and I absolutely respect the hustle with that, because not everyone's got 400 quid for a Deltic, you know? And truth be told, had this not been donated to the channel, I don't think I would have done either, because they're all sold out at Hornby, so they've done something right. Hopefully, boys and girls, you can just see the finesse of the detail there, and you can quite easily read that builder's plate. It does come with metal die-cast plates in the box as well, which is nice, but to be fair, I always screw up mounting them, and I just put a little bit of PV on the back of it and slide it in place, but I always screw it up, so I'm not going to bother. Now, I've seen a few people mention this. Am I going to weather it? Now, I've seen this locomotive running, not under its own power. It last ran under its own power, from what I can gather, sometime in the... Let's get this camera back up here, boys and girls. Pardon me. Let's see if I can get you to look at your chief and leader. Let's have a look. Bear with me. Let's wait for the camera to catch up so you can maybe see me, and I'll just adjust it as is required. So we're about there, aren't we? We're about there, I think. Yeah, let's just move it back a little bit. Last train ran in 1961. Yes, it was the 60s, wasn't it? Yes, I believe so. But this did appear at Preston. This appeared on the home turf. This appeared at the Ribble Steam Rail, which is a lovely, quaint little steam railway, and they do diesel days as well. And this lived there. This lived there for quite a number of years, from what I can gather, until it was moved to Shildon, to locomotion. And they have this thing up and down, and it was pulling trains, but it was unpowered. And you'd usually see like a little diesel shunter behind it, pushing it along, or what have you. But it did technically run in trains in preservation. So that is a big old tick for me in my railway, because my rule is, if it ran in the past 15 to 20 years, I can do it. And this was about 10, 12 years ago. So I am thrilled to bits with it. Hornby, they've outdone themselves, really. And you know, it kind of annoys me. It annoys me because, and let me just quantify that. It annoys me because, yes, I understand that they can't always make a model to this degree and this level all the time. I get that. The cost would be phenomenal, as we've seen here, you know, 400 quid for a sound fitted version. I think you can get the DC version or the DCC ready version for a bit less than that. And probably I would probably say, if you want good sound, don't be tempted to go for the HM7000 equipped version. Get a DC version and go through your own upgrade route that you would normally, either through somewhere like Coastal DCC or Roads and Rails or John JMC, whatever you want to go for your sound installs. That's the way to go for it. I know Richard Croft from Roads and Rails has been playing with one of his, and he's already improved the sound on it. So I may be contacting old Richie boy to help me get the most out of my Deltic. Certainly a better sound profile, I think. Functionally wise, in terms of lighting, there's not a lot going on. It probably would need a custom sound, a custom profile making up for it, so you can activate the ditch light. Although, to be honest with you, I might probably not run that too much because it doesn't exist on the real model in real life. So, but it's nice that Hornby's put it there. You know, if Rapido can put silly little cameo sound files in their sound projects, which are all, I think they're usually on one of the high 20s, if I'm not mistaken, or low teens. But that's fun to see, and they're doing a lot of what-if liveries, which again is fun to see. KR Models doing lots of what-if liveries, fun to see. Why not have a what-if light bulb? Okay, this is the first working example of a what-if light bulb on a ready-to-run model. Hornby have broken, you know, all barriers and all preconceived notions of what you should expect, because they've now given you the what-if light bulb, and that is Just a gorgeous bit of kit in it. Look at that. They've done so well with that. That looks absolutely gorgeous. And I know it didn't run often. And I know it never ran in preservation with its engine going. But do you know what? I'm going to have a lot of fun shunting with this thing. And having it shunted around, you know. And for that purpose, I actually have some diesels, which are dead in tow, freewheelers. So we've got a Janus shunter, which sadly, I believe the technical term is shat itself. Some months ago, the conrod snapped, it's somewhere in there, and it wouldn't connect back to the motor. So I just took the motor out and the conrod and the recorder, and it runs nicely now as a little shunty, pulley, rolly thing. So all I need to do is have this at the back of the Deltic, and here presto, we've got the Deltic being shunted, haven't we? Even though it's the Deltic doing the moving, but that's a little free tip for you there. Yeah. Always have one or two locos, which are just free rollers, handy to have. Really are. These are cheap enough at 50 quid anyway. You pay that for a coach, don't you? And I've also got one which is rusted to be on all buggery. That's one that's been derelicted. Derelicted? Is that a word? Derelicted? It's been derelicted and left to rot. But this one is just a static piece. It does still roll, technically. It does still roll, but this is usually just sat on the siding or tucked away under a tarp or something. It's got missing windows, you know. It's a nice little scenic piece, is that. I'm really happy with it. So let's have a look at the chat, see what's going on. Hi, Hermitage Roads. Sockfluff, hello. Jeppel Anderson. Oil your chair. Sponsor of the channel, you should give me a new... Everybody in the chat, do they think that the sponsor of the channel should sponsor a nice new office chair so we don't get this? Every 2 minutes, because I think that you should, and you should all shame him into guilting me, and anyone that disagrees will be banned immediately. So there we are. Oh God, this chair really is. Christ. There we are. Evening, Moneybrook Junction. Good to see you. We've just been running the Deltic. We're going to run it a bit later on, and I'm going to do I think I'm going to do a little review of this thing, a proper video, which I'll put out tomorrow, and I'm going to see how it runs under test conditions. I suspect that it'll run fine and everything else. So it might seem a little bit inconsistent with what I've done here, because you have to try and make it look convincing and what have you. And I think we'll go a bit more into the sound as well on the video too. So keep an eye for that tomorrow. If you've seen this, you've seen all of it, you know it's a good model. But I do think that if you want one of these, then the regular DC version is the one to get, and don't bother with the TXS. Just upgrade the sound as you see fit. However, if 450 quid, really, or 400 quid or whatever it is, really is the top end of your budget, and you've wanted this, and you just want the hassle-free life of having sound fitted, then do you know what? It's all right. It's okay. And it passes the mark, and it sounds a bit like a Deltic, apart from the horn. So, is it worth 400 quid? I think so. Well, 400 quid asterisk, yes, apart from the sound. I personally don't like the sound. I think it could be a lot better in a lot of regards, especially on a model of 400 quid. Hornby even give you a little display plinth. So, in their mind at least, they've presented this in a lovely, you know, period accurate, like novelty box. They give you a display stand with the words Deltic on it. They've even fastened it into a little cradle, so they've really gone to town on making this thing look and feel and run exquisite. Why would you then? It feels like almost rush the sound profile for it. And I don't know if they've reused their old TTS sound file for the Deltic, if they ever had one. I don't know if they did. Can't remember that far back. I'm not that old. But it doesn't tickle the pickle in terms of sound, I'm afraid. But, you know, in terms of actually being a physically wonderful model to behold, and it really is spectacular in that. All the separate, there's so much separately fitted detail. And again, we'll go into the close-ups and things on tomorrow's video, guys. So if you want to see a bit more close-ups, then you can see the video tomorrow. But it is absolutely spot on. On the underside, you've got these little clips here. Hopefully you can just about see that. Give it a mark out of 10. Well, okay. I mean, I can't, it'd just be an arbitrary number. You know, it's a great model. Physically, I'd say it's 9 out of 10. There's no such thing as perfect, but I'd say 9 out of 10. It's physically astounding. The quality is astounding. The ladder did come off, and you can see there, look, it's the ladder on that buggy is a little bit to cock now because, you know, hey, it's part of the course, isn't it? We have all these delicate little bits and pieces. Of course, they're going to fall off. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be another ladder on there. Oh no, it's on there. It's fine. It is on there. Simon Picture, yeah. I think if you are used to higher quality sound profiles from other manufacturers' models, so for example, a Curascale, or maybe a custom fitted Bachmann DP1, then you are going to be left feeling a little cold with the sound offering for this model. I honestly think Hornby should have put just a little bit more effort into the sound project and not recycled the brake squeal and other generic sounds as well. I think that's just a little bit lazy, and the horn really could have been done a lot better. I mean, it doesn't sound deep like a Deltic horn. Yes, they're all a bit squeaky. I understand that. I'd say probably just tweak the sound file a little bit for me, but whatever. Most of your customers are happy with it sounding like a kazoo, then that's up to them. Have you got a tape measure? Richard Grooters, what did you get a tape measure for? Could I please put the camera up to it along its length, please? I mean, okay, well, try that. There we go. There you go. That's the Deltic up close. Looks short in length. I wouldn't know, mate. I've not got the real thing here to compare it against. It certainly doesn't look short, and it feels absolutely amazing in terms of quality. I'm not sure how long it's supposed to be, really. If it is short, then I don't think that's any reason not to buy it. It certainly doesn't look short to me. I mean, we had the case last week with the Bachmann Class 37s. The older tuning ones sit about 1 millimetre, 2 millimetre taller than the new ones do. It's no reason not to buy one. Little petty things like that, it's not really worth getting upset over, I don't think. It being maybe 1 millimetre or two too long, short, wide, fat, whatever. Elgin's Class 47's a little bit misshapen. It still looks like a Class 47. The problem only comes when you start comparing them next to each other. There we are. Maybe a camera thing. Ah, Richard Zabriskie, is that true? I didn't know that. I know there were a lot of mechanical differences between the prototype and the finished version, as it were. But it's they're certainly done well with the model of it. So I'm going to whack this back on the layout now, I think, boys and girls, because we're coming up to about an hour, so I'll be signing off soon. But I'll get the camera on the layout there. That's my wacky workbench, all nice and dirty. Let's get the old extender out there. Pardon the shaky cam action of doom. There we are. Okay. Let's get the old Deltic on here then. So this, if you want to fit the stair line, by the way, on the underside here, you've got these magnetic covers. which just sort of, if you can get your fingernail in there, they sort of just come off. But as you can see, I have no fingernails at the minute. Yeah, see, no fingernails. There we go. There you go. So you can see in there, you've got the socket for the stay alive. This will work with the HM7000 stay alive. So one of these should just go straight in there. But I'm going to see if I can fit a bigger one in there. Bear with me. I'm going to see if I can fit a AE model stay alive in there, because they are just that little bit better. Bear with me. Let's see if I can get one of these bad boys in there. So these are the ones to have. Let's see if it fits. Interesting. So it'll go in there. Let's see if I can fit this in. A bit fiddly to do on camera. No. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to do on camera, guys, got to be honest with you. I'm all fingers and thumbs. Let's see if I can get that in there like that. And dropped it on the floor. Lovely job. Let's try this. Let's try this. Okay. It's a bit fiddly because the socket's quite recessed. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not a dexterous kind of animal. But this is taking a lot longer than it bloody well should do. And I'm sure if, you know, you put the loco into a cradle or whatever, then that'd work, but... Good, dropped it again. Superb. Oh, now I can't find the stay alive. Good. That's fallen onto the carpet and has evaporated into oblivion. Nowhere to be seen. There we are. What's the chat saying? Craig, but the circuit board is also set up to use the HM7000 stuff, so it does just sort of fit in there. Let's try it again. This is really fiddly. I must say I never have this much issue getting it into a... Christ. Just cannot seem to get that in there. Let me just do it off camera because this is going to take all night otherwise. Get it from above. Come on. Bear with me, just doing something fiddly. I mean, Christ, this shouldn't be this fiddly to get in here. I don't know why it's not going in. Really struggling here to get this in. Cannot for the life of me get it to go in. Sorry about this, I just can't seem to get the bleeding thing in the hole. She cried. And I can't get my thumb in because of the body. It's sort of in the way. And I can't... Oh, God. It just, you plug it in and it doesn't seem to want to sit home. And I just feel like I need 3 pairs of hands to do this. And it shouldn't... It's not going in. Why isn't it going in? Why isn't it going in? There we are. Okay. It wasn't the wrong way around. It's just a fiddly little fucker. There we are. Okay. Let's see if I can get all the wiring in here and the stay alive and get the roof closed. That's in there now. Wiring everywhere. Probably a bit of tape on this, something. Let's get the cover. Big wire sticking out there, good. There we are. So all those people that when they film a video and go, "Oh, look how easy it is to put your decoder in this," this is horseshit. This is the sort of thing you're going to deal with. This is the sort of thing you're going to have to encounter, I'm afraid. Can't get that in there. Doesn't want to sit on there with a stay alive in it. There we go. Always get the wire caught right at the last second there, look. Leading wire. Can't see the chat, so just, you know, talk amongst yourselves. Go in there now. So we just can't seem to get that in there. So you can get the stay alive in there, but we're going to have to use a bit of creativity, I think, in terms of getting that lid closed, because I just can't get it to shut. The wires are just too long. So there we are. Let's have a look at the chat. Let's see what you lot are talking about. Yeah. Richard Croft, hello mate, you're right. Brave track. No, I'm trying it live because everyone else pre-records it and makes it seem like a easy thing, and it's not. You are genuinely gonna, you know, you try and fit a stay alive into a model which can take a stay alive, and yeah, it can, but there's a big asterisk there. So what I'm going to have to do is go to my toolbox, get the Captain tape, and do it like a grown-up. So a quick install is not possible. You have to get your tape out, you have to get your scissors out, you have to start pissing around. Here we are. And then the tape falls on the floor. Good. Get your scissors out. Get your scissors out, love. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is just bend the wire ever so gently. Wrap it up like that. And then put a bit of Captain tape on it. There you go. And that will keep the wire in place. Very good. And then cut that excess Captain tape off because we don't need all that. Let's see if this gets it in any easier, matron. Okay. Okay, it's in there. Certainly no wires in the way now. No, doesn't want to go in that way. No, won't go in that way. Just won't do it. Just won't close. Just won't go down. And it should do, because it's near enough level. If you can just see that, it's level. But it just sits too proud. So that is a little bit annoying, to be honest with you. Let's try that. No, 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 no. See, this is what annoys me about manufacturers. They sell it can do this, it can do that, and then you can't. And then they probably say, oh, it's meant for the HM7000 decoder. Well, this should fit. This isn't a large stay alive. So that's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. We're just going to catch that into it. Shit! Let's have a look at the chat. Hammer, yeah, good idea. It's going to get weathered, J. Paul Anderson, so you won't be able to tell anyway, mate. Turn the wire around, stay alive. I have got a loco cradle, it's just not near me at the minute. And I can't be asked getting it, so there we are. No, that is the right cover, mate. That is the right cover. See, there's space in there. I just can't for the life of me. And I'm very cautious of these wires because they're very, very thin. See, that should close. That isn't in any way, shape or form. It's just not. It's not snapping. Look, it's just not snapping shut. And that stay alive, look, it's not. That stay alive is not protruding. There, look, that stay alive is flush. That is in there. That is not. Won't go that way. Won't go that way. No. It's just not the right. It's just not going in there, is it? So we're going to have to leave the bottom off and maybe put a bit of blue tack in there or something to stop it from falling out, perhaps, or a bit of black tack if I've got any. Bit annoying, really, but there we are, I suppose. Stops it from falling out on the track, getting in the way. And it saves my sanity as well. I'm just triggering everyone now by not putting it in the cradle. Because really, who gives a fuck? There we go. Okay, get that in there. Black tack, see, fixes everything. Cool, right, perfect. And will it go on now? No, it still won't go on. Anyway, sack that. Let's get it on the layout. I wonder how long the stay alive will last on this thing. Let's get it in there. Are you on? You're on there. Let's give the layout some power. There we are. Cool beans. There we are. Let's have a look. See you later, Dion, mate. Thanks for joining us. Right, okay, so we've got the model back on the layout now. It's working again. Cool. Put the sound on. Right, so I'm going to do the professional stay alive test, which is move it over there. The fuel tanker covers are magnetic. It just, for whatever reason, that stay alive isn't fully compatible with this clip, and that's causing it to not fit. But whatever, you can't tell that I've blue tacked it in. It's absolutely fine. So I'm going to set it going at speed step. Let's say, I'm going to say 5. The stay alive should have charged up by now. I'm going to lift it off the track and see how long we get. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, immediately dies. Interesting. So the stay alive isn't working. Cool. I wonder why that is. Why isn't the stay alive working? The stay alive is good, by the way. That's come out of a working model. So the stay alive isn't working. Fantastic. Who's shouting at me now? What, Simon? Craig, what? Cross the matter. I'm not opening the frigging thing up. It either works or it doesn't. it either works or it doesn't. And looking at this, it doesn't. Look, it's in there. It's plugged in. Why isn't it working? This is supposed to work. So what's going on there? I'm not taking the body off. So the stay alive doesn't work, so I might as well just take that out and not flaming bother. There we are, put that back there. Okay, so annoyed me now was that, so it's going on the naughty corner for now. Right, there we are. Okay, good. Let's have a look at the chart and see what's going on, shall we? It's a cover, not the body. Wire wasn't plugged in at the decoder. Stay alive plug plugged into the decoder. What's all this now? If I have to plug something else in, when no one else requires you to have to plug more things in, Craig, you hide it so well. What? Why don't read the comments? Because I'm not Magic Dave. I can't be 3 places at once, fella. Once I get eyes in the back of my arse, I'll be able to read the screen that's behind me. Until then, you have to wait, won't you? Now, let's have a look. So you're saying to me, there's an extra plug I need to plug in. I suppose I should read the instructions, but I've got to the age of 39 without reading the instructions so far. Don't think I'm going to bother at this point in life, really. Not much point. So, okay, I've got the decoder open there, and there's no stay alive wire that I can see in there. It's just the decoder. Good. Okay, perfect. At least we know it's live. Yes, it's live. Yes, it's live. So I'm just confused as to why there's a plug underneath there for your stay alive. And you plug your stay alive in, and it doesn't stay alive. Interesting. Let's have a look at the instructions, shall we? Let's look at Hornby's literature and see why I have to look at the instructions for installing a stay alive, when really you shouldn't. It should just plug and play, really, shouldn't it, at 400 quid, let's be honest. You can be as petty as you want and be as pedantic as you want, but when you're playing top bollock for something, you just want it to work. Okay, let's have a look. That's just using a manual. Let's have a look. The booklet's nice. Bedtime reading. Have you? Okay. Pin wire plug. What's this? Speaker. 00. Okay. Stay alive. Okay, yeah, so the stay alive says space has been allowed for one of the fuel tanks to fit us. Home to stay alive. Blah, blah, blah. Remove the magnetic 00 hatch and then you plug it directly. It doesn't mention about adding a plug anywhere else. So, you know, there we are. The socket underneath is just a pass through into the decoder socket. So you're telling me I've now got to take the decoder out, fiddle with more. Hang on, because this is going to go on the floor, this, isn't it? Let's be honest. Attach the cable to the chip under the hatch. What? Okay. One decoder. I hate removing 21 pin decoders because I always feel they're going to snap. underneath the sound decoder. Yeah, so I have to remove the sound decoder to attach a wire, which on a factory fitted sound model should already be plugged in, shouldn't it? Okay, we've got the chip out now. Good. Oh, look at that, the wires under there. Perfect. Look at that. Okay. So we'll plug that chip in there then. Plug that in there. See, it doesn't mention this in the instructions, by the way. It doesn't mention it in the instructions. Under the heading labelled Stay Alive, it mentions Sweet FA about, by the way, guys, you have to take your decoder out and frig around and try and not bend the pins. And there we are. Okay, so I've got that plugged in now. Good. Let's get that line back up so I don't fraggle it. Yes, got your pins in there. Good. Right, okay, that's back in there now. This seems to be a lot of work. Yes, to be fair with you, 400 quid, ready to run. Not so. There we are. So bear that in mind, boys, girls, and all points in between. Let's get the locomotive cradle. Here you go, locomotive cradle. Stop crying at me. There you go. Right, Christ almighty. Put that there. Honestly. Right. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's me frigging tweet? Here we are. Tweezers. Tweezers, tweezers, tweezers. Okay. What's that? What's a 30-second job? Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah, if you know it's there, but how would you know? Because the instructions don't mention it. Which is just a bit naff, really, isn't it? It should be there. You know. There we are, but whatever. It's just a small, niggly thing, whatever. Still a good model, just that has annoyed me. Right, so the Stay Alive's in there now. I've lost my bit of sanctioned black tack, so I'll have to get more from the pile. Black tack, by the way, bloody great stuff, and you don't need a lot of it. Look at how little I'm using. I'm using a tiny bit, a little blob, the back of the Stay Alive, right? And it's going in there, and I'm just going to lodge it thus, and that's it. Okay. You tried to fit a stay dead? Yes. Okay. Let's get it on the and see how long the Stay Alive actually works with the sound. All right. Okay, baby, boys and girls. Get that on the light. Although I will say this, to be fair to the model's fidelity, I have been ragging it around like a bull in a china shop, and nothing's fallen off of it. Nothing's fallen off of it, which is good, because the last thing I want is to be, you know, making a Lego jigsaw puzzle out of my Hornby double locomotive, you know. Right, okay, there we are. Cool, shaky hand cam again. Okay, let the Stay Alive charge up, get a bit of motion into it. There we are, good, 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 good. Please let your Stay Alive charge. There we are. Okay. Speed step 5. Let it get going. There we are. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. That is not bad. 6 seconds at a crawl on a Coco locomotive, a 6-wheel pickup, should be enough for anyone's layout to, you know, if your loco dies after that amount of time passing, then you need to look at your track, fella. It's as simple as that. Horn still sound shit. There we are. There we are. Okay, so yes, points off Hornby for having instructions which are shit, and the sort of person that would buy this would probably not want to be doing any sort of faffing around. And I can solder decoders and sterilize together all day long, not a problem at all. It's a nice horn. Do you really think so, Richard? Because if you do, then that's fine. I mean, you're wrong. You're wrong, and you should be shot immediately. Of course. There we are. Let's get it onto that train. That going to be too fast to couple up? No, it's fine. There we are, jolly good. Thank you, Simon Picture. Yes, I am working bloody hard, aren't I? I always do. There we are. Cool. Sounds like a knackered washing machine to me. Yeah, the sound file isn't great, is it? Let's be honest. Off it goes. Deltic away. I mean, to be fair with you, the model runs really, really well anyway without the stay alive. You add a stay alive in there, and you could add a smaller one in there, and to be honest with you, you'd be absolutely fine. I've added that one because it's the biggest one that I've got, and I wanted to stress test it. I had a feeling it wouldn't fit, and I frigged around with it for 20 minutes to prove a point. And that point is that just because something says it's ready to run or will work with a stay alive or has to be this or has to be that, has to be the other, doesn't always make it so. You can, with a little bit of ingenuity, persistence and sheer bloody mindedness, get it to work your way. And I think that is worth pointing out and celebrating. There we are. So I'm going to put my tweezers away now. There we are. Richard, you said disconnecting the sugar cube will make it sound better. Interesting. Yeah, look, it's not the volume that's the problem. I think it's, I mean, that speaker's crackling now. Don't know if you can hear it. A little bit of crackling there. Not sure if you can hear that, boys and girls, but there's a little bit of crackling on there. Interesting. So that might be why you need to go to a chap like Richard at Roads and Rails and say, Richard, fix my shitty sounding Hornby Deltic, because, you know, I want it to sound like a real Deltic and not a broken washing machine. So that's absolutely fine. I've turned the layout off and the Deltic is still going. That's really funny. Good. Let's put that there. Okay, there we are. Right, so whatever. Oh, Lionel Chairman, thank you so much, mate. You're a legend. Thank you so much. So, Richard Croft, you're saying it's the aim one flapping what's above it, like the Cure Scale one does if they are too loud. Yeah, I found often that you need to turn the Cure Scale ones down because they're very enthusiastic with the bass. Turn them down, and it should work better. Richard, what's the was it? My black tack's gone missing again. There we are. There we are. I've heard distortion cracking. 2 other reviewers that happened the other days with the Q55. Yeah, so we've, you know. Okay, so £400, sound fitted factory version, which is what it is. Let's have a look at the box there just to make sure I'm not talking about my arse. Yeah, that's the sound fitted version, full fat version. There we are. So yeah, kind of an oversight on Hornby's heart. with the needing to plug stay alive thing in, advertising your loco has a stay alive socket and then not mentioning to plug it in under the decoder, which means removing the decoder, which somebody that bought a sound fitter version might not have the confidence to do. Just because you feel comfortable doing something doesn't mean that everyone else is. There's always a chance that someone's going to be just a little bit rough getting that 21 pin decoder out there and they bend a pin, and then it's a problem, isn't it? Very minor, I know, but it needs to be considered. Sound picture on the whole, are you happy or disappointed? I'm happy. It is a lovely, lovely, lovely model, and I urge anyone out there that wants one, buy the DCC ready version and fit your own sound to it, because I am not an advocate for HM7000 sound quality in this regard. Some of the HM7000 sound files are brilliant. The Class 20, the Class 8, they're really nice sound files. This one is lacking, I think, and I don't think that Hornby have done as well as they might have done when it comes to the sound project for this model. No, the buffer heights seem right, Dave, to be fair with you, mate. I can't see an issue with that. Looks okay to me, mate, to be fair with you. Yeah, Andy Fry, that's a good point, mate. Yeah, and I think a good thing to do, because you're going to get phone calls. You're going to get phone calls. People will ring up saying the stay alive's not working. Then you're going to have a conversation saying you need to plug a wire in. They're going to check the decoder out. They're going to break the decoder. They're going to break the 21 mountain pins, and then you where you are. Yeah. Richard Rhodes Rail says buy the sound one because otherwise it's hard to fit the EM one. Yeah, there is, but then they can send it to someone like you, mate, can't they? You're welcome. Any road. Right. Final verdict. The good and the bad. The good, it is a splendid model. The mechanism is squeaky, not my chair. The mechanism is really nice. It runs super smooth, very heavy, so that means it picks up well even without the stay alive. The stay alive not being plugged in is very minor, ultimately, and the whole faff with trying to get the plug in there is just, you know, maybe I'm tired, whatever. It is what it is. You saw how it went, you know, there we are. I would say the model is worth it. I would. It's a good little bit of kit. And despite a few very basic flaws, which you could argue should be really be seeing them on a model of this price level, some would say no, some would say it's still acceptable. I think it's somewhere in between the two. I don't think that there should be any room really for issues like wires not being plugged in on a model of this caliber. They've not released this as a regular railroad range or even the regular railways range. This is the 00 piece de resistance big tick to childhood memorabilia 00 range, and everything needs to be special, you know, big tick under it. And I think maybe that's where Hornby have gone wrong in recent years with a lot of other things. They just haven't pushed that little last bit. They've come close with this, with the Deltic. They really, really have. I would say it's probably one of their nicest models they've ever underscore bold released. And that includes the 88DS and the 48DS, which are two of my favourite models. Hornby did so well with them. They're gorgeous little things. And this proves that Hornby can do it, and they can hang with the big boys in terms of getting weight and high fidelity parts and die-cast moulding and everything else. But maybe just a little bit of afterthought on the finishing, guys. That'd be great. And when I say finishing, I mean things like the sound file and making sure the wires are plugged in. There we are. Right, boys and girls, that's me. I've talked enough as it is. I grow weary of this weirdness. So I'm going to go log off now. There will be a little review of this thing tomorrow with a few different points of view on there. We're going to look at the model a bit closer with some nice pictures and what have you. So if you want to stick around for a different first time review, then please do. Tell it to yourselves. You're brave doing it live. You have extra pressure and issues live. Yes, Jeffrey, yes. And that's what no other YouTuber's done that from what I can gather. And I might do it again, depending on how popular this one ends up being. So you lot seem to have enjoyed it. I've never really been one for hiding the issues. I've always tried to be honest with Iron Horse Railways and say it as I see it, and a lot of people don't like that, and it is just my opinion. That's all it is, and I have no bearing or influence over anyone other than this is my opinion, and you can do what you want with it. You can listen to it, you can take it on board, you can disregard it entirely. You can roll it up in a tiny little roll of paper and shove it up your arse. If you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. It is just mine. There we are. Everyone has one, and sometimes they vary in different, which is good because it leads to good conversation. In closing, Hornby done good. Few little silly mistakes that stop it from being a 10 out of 10 model. Is it better than the Bachmann one? Yes, asterisk in certain ways and shapes and forms. It's heavier, higher fidelity. But if you've got a Bachmann DP1, don't run out to sell it and go, this one, it's a good model. You'll be fine with that. However, if you want the best DP1 on the market, it's there, it's here. Run out to a local stockist and get one today. I think Andy Sawyer at Sawyer Models has some in stock. Andy, can you confirm if you have any Deltics in, mate? Oh, Richard from Roads and Wheels, thank you very much, buddy. You are a legend, of course. Thank you so much, mate. Did someone else send a super chat as well before? Andrew Bettis, yes, thank you, mate. Oh, thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, all these generous people tonight leaving donations and chucking £5 notes into my metaphorical hat, which is good. There we go. All sold out on pre-order, so that's just goes to show, guys, how popular these models have actually been. You know what I mean? So they've done well. So if you want to see more live reviews of new models, let me know. Of course, I have to get one. I need one before I can actually review it, so there is that. Manufacturers don't always send me models, especially when I do stupid shit like this and review them live and don't run the video by them first to make sure it's just right. None of that shit here. No, it is what it is. So if you want my review, you might have to wait for it to arrive with me through regular streams, but I can promise you this, it will always be truthful. I won't fabricate anything, and by fabricate I mean I won't make things any worse than they actually are. And I won't try and cover up things which are catastrophically wrong with the model. They'll just get outed, as they always have done. So, thank you very, very much, boys and girls. If you want to check out how you can support the channel, please do. It's in the description box. And if you've watched so far, please hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow and helps keep me in my finery and bills paid and what have you. Right, I'm going to try and turn the camera off now, so I'm going to move you to between my legs again. There we are, there we are, there we are. You can look at yourselves in the chat. There we are. Okay, boys and girls, thank you very much. Take care, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.